Hello and welcome. Today I will be discussing how students learn with you. So before we begin, please go ahead and prepare yourself for the learning. Make sure you're in a calm, relaxing environment. You have your glass of water. Make sure you have your Chromebook open. If you have not yet, open the Google Forms document that is linked in the description of the video. Go ahead and do so now. I can also link it right here for you so that you can have that as well. Make sure that your animals are put up if you're coming from home. Make sure that you're in a good, safe place and a good environment for learning. Before we begin, climate's very important. All right, welcome to this presentation. I put this together with collaboration with my students and my peers, and I went from teachers from the third grade world all the way up to 6th and 8th grade teachers just for this presentation because I knew I would have a whole gamut of teachers watching this. So I just want to say thank you for being here, and if you participated in my surveys to help me with this presentation, thank you for that, and I super appreciate all of your time. I hope that you guys will learn something today. All right, for my learning objective today, I'm going to say that by the end of this presentation, teachers K through 12 will be able to better help their students and support their students in learning with using technology. And so you're going to come away with this with a few practical applications today that you can actually use in the classroom starting tomorrow if you wanted. I'm also throughout this presentation going to implement a few new ideas. I'm going to have beyond bullet point design slides pop up here. I'm going to be following the practical inquiry model, and I'm going to be following the analogical model as well. So I kind of want you, I'm not going to tell you what those are yet, but I just kind of want you to think about what those could be and what those look like for learning for this presentation. Go ahead and just think to yourself, have you ever been told that you have a certain learning style? Have you heard of the learning styles? Do you teach to the learning styles? Well, I have a problem for you. Learning styles are not backed by research, and therefore it is a huge problem in education today where we are using these models and using these research designs, but they aren't research designs. So beyond talking to my classmates, with talking to my collaborators, we've kind of want to shift away from this teaching just to a learning style. Well, why are they bad? They're bad because if you have one student who is told, oh, you're an auditory learner, well, and then I give a visual presentation, that student's already checked out before I even start my content. So you don't want to label those students right away, just like how we don't want to label ourselves. If I'm saying, oh, I only learn visually, I would be checked out of a presentation where I go to listen to a speaker. And I don't want that for anybody, including my students. That's not the best practice to learn. The outcome of this is students just shutting down in our classes. You'll probably be able to see this. If you do a learning style survey, you probably have students shut down on you day one. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a scenario up here on the screen for you. I want you in your Google form to fill it out. The scenario is you have a new teacher at your school who gives a learning style survey at the beginning of the year. They give it to the students to keep them in their folders, or their binders, or whatever you have. And what are you going to tell this teacher? So go ahead and read through this scenario, pause this video, take a few seconds to answer on the Google form. So what should we be doing instead? Well, we should be using research-based strategies such as reflection, corrective feedback, dynamic feedback, and dynamic testing. So I'm going to go over these things a little bit for our practices and then give you a few practical applications as well. So retrieval. Retrieval is an effective practice that not often gets a good rap. Usually people think of retrieval as, oh, testing. Oh, more testing. We don't need to do more testing. Allie, you're insane. Well, actually, retrieval is one of the best practices out there. The tips with retrieval, however, though, is that you have to be able to recall that information for yourself. So pull it out from your memory, and then you want to give it some more time and then try to pull it out again. So there are going to be a few examples for retrieval practice that I will go over later, but retrieval is actually a very good form. And I have a lot of colleagues tell me, I don't want to do more testing. Well, maybe testing, but low stakes testing could be beneficial for our students. Speaking of testing, dynamic testing is the second thing that I think is super important. So what is dynamic testing? Dynamic testing is where you're going to give different sets of questions based on where a student's skill level is at. So let's say we take a test, a pre-test in the beginning, and I have half of my class already good with context clues. Well, now that I know that, I'm not going to teach those students on context clues. Maybe then I pull a small group for context clues, teach those skills, and then at the end of me teaching, I will test again. This is dynamic testing so that I can see the differences between the pre and the post test, and I'm always constantly looking for where those students need more supports. Then I have corrective feedback. So going directly into working with retrieval and working into dynamic testing, I want corrective feedback. Corrective feedback is every single time the student does something, you want to be correcting them. If you have a student who gets a problem wrong and you give no feedback whatsoever, they're not going to be able to correct it for the future. Now, the thing with corrective feedback is, if you give the feedback, give them another chance to do it better. So if you give feedback on one test, give them a similar question or a similar standard, same standard maybe even, to answer again. This feedback they can then apply to the next skill set. These are all examples of research-based strategies that we should all be using in the classroom. So reflection. Reflection is important. Once again, one of the reasons why I had you guys do a scenario, I'll also have you guys do a reflection piece on your Google form here in a little bit as well. Reflection is important. Us as adults need reflection. Students need reflection. We really want to sit with what we are learning and unpack and diagnose where we are at in our own skill sets. All right, so on the Google form, I want you to look at these examples and just kind of type in any examples you think that we might already do as teachers. I know a few of you already have some of these examples based on my surveys that I give you, but I wanted to give you guys just a chance to reflect once again on these components. All right, so suggestion 1. Incorporate small, frequent, low-stakes quizzes and tests into your teaching practice. This can be as simple as a clicker response in class. Some good ones for this are Book It, kids love it, and Kahoot, kids also love it. These you can implement all throughout the day. Even if you just want to do a quick question on the board and have students answer, that is going to be helpful as well. Here is a list of examples for you. I also put this list of examples for you on the Google form so that you could click into each thing if you wanted to, so that you could kind of play around with it. Speaking of Google Forms is another great way to get kind of those quizzes and tests out of the way. And they're easy to make. They can be graded for you. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to create your own Google form, because I had some people tell me they didn't know how. Suggestion number 2 is to help your students by teaching them these strategies. So if you teach them about flashcard practice and why that retrieval is important for their brain, they're going to be a better student. If you get them on board with test taking and testing and how it's going to be a good thing and how you're going to give them feedback, to read your feedback and actually apply it, all of these things are steps in the right direction that your students would then be able to be higher achieving students because they're also following these practices that you're putting in place. So I have some examples of that as well here. So flashcard, Kahoot, Book It. I had a lot of other people, since I sent my survey out, kind of come up to me in the hall and just say, hey, like, I remember this. This is a good strategy. So I'll have to add those to the list as well. If you have any others, go ahead and add them to the Google form and I can add them to my list. Suggestion number 3 is going to be have the students turn in a reflection, even if it's quick, easy, a few sentences, a few thoughts at the end of the day, something that's going to wrap up their thinking, wrap up what they're thinking about, where they're at in their learning. Just get in the habit of this practice. It's good for really everybody. Once again, I have some examples of this up here as well. All right, suggestions for implementation, but a deeper review, because I had a few of you guys tell me, I have no idea what you're talking about. I understand that these are good strategies, good research-based strategies, but Allie, I will not walk away with anything, and that is not what I wanted. Based on my learning objective, I wanted to give you guys 1 or 2 actual practical skills that you guys could walk away and teach tomorrow, use in your classroom tomorrow, go home tonight and start practicing with. And so I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper review for you for that reason. All right, so how to do a Google form. So you'll see a series of stuff up here, and I want you guys to kind of try to pause, follow along with this video. So there are a few different ways to get to Google Forms. You can go in through your Drive. If you click the little domino, as I call it, and hit that and then hit Forms. You could go through your Google Drive already, hit New, and hit Form that way as well. And then if you're using like a school issue Chromebook, even on the bottom tab, the very bottom of the computer, usually there is a spot for Google Forms on there also. So go ahead and take a second, open up a Google Form. All right, so today for this example, for the sake of the example, I'm going to be showing you how to create a quiz. So go ahead and just create a blank quiz, see what that looks like. You can even use my reference for my Google form that I have you guys fill out today for the evaluation's sake. But you can kind of use that to kind of look at the different types of questions. And you're gonna have the title at the top, you can change that, and then you're gonna have the different sets of question types. And I'll go through that in a little bit, but there are different question types, just different responses. Obviously, when it comes to retrieval practice, the better type of question where the students actually have to pull the information out of their brain is better. So you want to try to stay away from multiple choice if possible. But honestly, multiple choice is better than doing nothing, so it's okay. All right, so then you want to create your question, and then if you want it to grade it for you, you have to hit the little thing on the bottom that says answer key, and then you click the right answer or add in the right answer. Be careful with this if you are doing a like short answer or extended response. Those you usually have to grade for yourself. Like I'll go through afterwards and I'll hand grade those questions myself, just because if a student doesn't type it exactly the way that you put it in your answer box, it's not going to count. All right, Flipgrid is another resource that I wanted to kind of go in depth with. I started using this a few years ago. I have my Flipgrid educator badge, and every single time that I have people come in my classroom, they're like, I want to know more about this. So I'm actually going to show you a video of one of my students advocating for this program. I had his permission and the school's permission to share this video with you guys. And it just kind of shows the collaboration with the students that I have in the tools that I only use tools that they also enjoy, because no kid, especially third grade age, is going to want to do a tool that they don't enjoy. They want it to be fun and interactive. So go ahead and watch this video.
So today I'm going to tell you why I like to use Flipgrid for education. So I like to use it because we use it for like reading in our SRS and stuff like that, and also because you can add stickers as you see, and then you can add GIFs. Also you can add backdrops. You can basically almost do anything. Watch, I can even do this. I can even do this, huh? See, I can type. I can switch my mirror. That's basically why I like to use Flipgrid. It's very fun. You can record videos. And if you wanted to while you're at home, you could make your own video for like your teacher or your student teacher or your family for like an education video. Like say you're doing math and you learn something new. You can make an educational video on how to do it. Like say you just learned multiplication and you're not in multiplication yet. You could make a video of how to do that. Or say you read a new book and you want to do a video report on it. You could do that.
Thank you and welcome back. I hope that helped showed you a little bit about Flipgrid. I use Flipgrid for a variety of different things in my room. You can use it kind of as a reflection tool. That's probably how I use it the most. Practice reading fluency, reading to each other, reading to themselves, plays, dramas, enunciation. There's literally a whole gamut of tools for Flipgrid. And if you want any more information, feel free to email me and we can set up a time to chat. All right, and then just to finish up, I'm just going to flash some examples up here on the screen for you. Examples for language arts, the arts, drama, just because I know I'm going to have a lot of different teachers watch this presentation. And if you are a specialist teacher and you are like, Allie, I will not be able to implement any of these things in my classroom, think again. Yes, you will. There are things that you guys can also do that are research strategy based that will help your students and better help them succeed. All right. Finally, thank you guys for watching this video. If you could do me a quick favor and continue to fill out that Google form, there is an evaluation piece on there. I want to know how you thought about this presentation, what you thought might needed to be changed for the future. As always, your thoughts are important to me so that I can better grow. There's going to be a few reflection questions on there that you fill out. And then once you submit that Google form, I'll actually get it directly to my email box. But if you'd like to email me, feel free to do that as well after this video is over. I hope you enjoyed your time with me today and learned something new. Before we stop, I'm going to go over what I kind of wanted to show you guys. So the practical inquiry model is going to be the problem statement, content overview, and then implementation. So the reason that you want to block it off like that is to kind of help your learner go along with the presentation with you. The beyond bullet point design, if you saw any of my slides pop up back here, you'll notice that I have one big title, a big picture in the middle, and like 2 sentences, and that's it. So beyond bullet point is a research-based strategy that more teachers should be using, in my opinion, and some of my colleagues' opinions as well, which is why I wanted to use it with you today. And the whole point of that is that you get the information across, but you get it in all 3 times. So the title, the picture, and the statement is aligned with what I'm saying out of my mouth so that there's no confusing context, there's no information. I'm not staring at a picture going, what does this have to do with what's on the slide? Wait, I didn't read the slide and you skipped it all. No, I'm late, I'm behind. So you don't have to worry about that. Beyond bullet point is faster, but it gets you the content in the best way possible. And then the andragogy model. So that was me bringing in collaboration with my peers and my students. That was me evaluating you guys, having you guys stop throughout this presentation to kind of answer some questions for me. That was the learning statement, my learning target, and a lot of other things about teaching adults. But look it up if you're curious. I just wanted to give a quick little brief rundown at the end of this video for you. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed.